Hello everyone and welcome back to round 6 of our F123 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this evening here for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live earlier on today, would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, the return of the Miami Grand Prix there was quite a crazy one. I won't give too many spoilers early on in this video as well. And of course, you know, if you're new around here and you haven't already, please do make sure you click that big red button down below. Get yourself subscribed to the channel for daily Formula 1 23 content. Of course, as previously mentioned, we're going to be doing a daily upload until we win the World Championship. So yeah, definitely want to make sure you subscribe, hit that bell notification as well so you don't miss out on any future videos. But as we head into this weekend, looks like we're having some issues on the production line then, so gotta try and get these upgrades sorted as quickly as possible. Therefore, that one won't come in ready for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. We have got a rear floor under tray though upgrade that should be coming in, as it looks like we've got even more problems going on the power unit side of things. Rear floor under tray though has gone on successfully, but yeah, anyway, heading into Imola this weekend, of course, no longer a sprint race on F123, so fingers crossed we can have a good weekend nonetheless. I think my goal before the end of the 2023 Formula 1 season is to learn the full name of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix this weekend. It's like the Qatar Airways Del Made in Italy Emilia Romagna or something like that. It's absolutely ridiculous. But of course, yeah, massive shame that we didn't get the real life Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, heading though into this weekend, Imola in previous F1 games, F1 2022, to be precise, was actually a very, very good track for me. So I'm hoping that can continue on this game. But, you know, only time will tell, of course. A fairly strong circuit for the AI as well. But look at that, purple scores already on this track climatization. How many corners can we keep this going for? Still yet to, I think, get a perfect lap on F1 23. Come on, let's keep doing it. Let's keep going. Can we try and go full purple here? I honestly was expecting it to go badly wrong before now as we head up in towards the chicane. Don't do a Charles Leclerc. It's still purple. We've just got 3-4 more corners to go in a DRS zone. Surely we're not going to get a perfect lap here in free practice, or perfect in air quotes, of course. Oh, no, there we go. It's all over. 2 corners to go. And at the final turn, though, this still should be a purple score, though, so we can't complain too much. Yeah, fractions away from perfect. Slightly more concerning news as we head into Imola, though, is the fact that AlphaTauri now brought some big upgrades to their car. So we actually come into this weekend with theoretically the worst car on the grid. So we might be into struggle over the next couple of GPs, but yeah, we'll wait and see as to how that works out, of course, because this is the second. Well, I say Miami was a particularly high downforce circuit, but now we've got a run of some really high downforce venues. So whether that'll play to our car strengths or not, we are yet to see. Right, we're heading down in towards the Ravazzas then to finish off my race simulation run. This one, again, looking pretty good. Car does feel very, very well planted around this venue. Feel like I am learning the setups inside F123 now, the nuances of what we need from the cars there. And yeah, there we go. Purple score once again. Let's see if we can make it into Q2. 2 races back to back. A bit of a strange qualifying session then here from Imola. Actually, rain early on has meant that it is now effectively become a one-shot run to try and get a time on the board. So I think we're going to see purple lap times showing up absolutely everywhere. But we've tried to make sure that I'm one of the last cars out then onto a lap. As Alex Alban, he's still showing up in the intermediate, so I don't quite know what he's done. Track is definitely bone dry, but we're only going to get one real shot of this. Did think about going out in the intermediate conditions, but just thought there's no point risking any damage to the car, especially when the circuit was going to dry up. But anyway, yeah, yeah, through the first sector. I mean, yeah, we've really got no kind of baseline to be going up against here. We could lead to some surprises, though, out in Q1, as track is bone dry, so it shouldn't affect things too much in that regard, just whether anyone makes a mistake on their final runs then. I think it was Carlos Sainz fastest course. I'm sure Ferrari would love to take the victory this weekend, obviously back at home. Oh, that was nice. Actually got the rotation through Acqua Minerale there. That corner's so much better on F123, and I've learnt that basically immediately then, as Fittipaldi just in front of me, our teammate currently in the drop zone. He's out in Q1 then here once again. Obviously made Q2 back at the first race of the year, but hasn't done it since. Don't please block me, Fittipaldi. Get on with it. Through the final couple of corners, our teammate really is now getting in the way. This is not helpful. Enzo, come on, move out the way. They give me a tiny bit of slipstream out the final quarter, but towards the line. Did we go fastest? We did! Fastest in Q1! Well, there we go then. Track was definitely still drying out towards the end of Q1 then, but we go fastest by 0.3 of a second over Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen there. Of course, doesn't really count as a pole position, unfortunately. But yeah, I suppose we just got to try and carry on the momentum, as look at that, Charles Leclerc barely squeaking by. Well, to be honest, after most of the AI have done their first run, not convinced we're going to be able to maintain that form that we saw in Q1 there. Top drivers now down into the low 15s, maybe even 14s are going to appear quite soon. But yeah, well, maybe there's a little bit more time in the car, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Okay, well, currently then, we're setting a representative time similar to that of Kevin Magnussen, who's on a 15.8. Don't know how good we are through the final sector, but maybe we're not down and out just yet then. Perhaps I've got to give myself a little bit more credit here as we round our way through the final couple of turns. No Enzo Fittipaldi there in the way this time round. Up towards the start-finish line, though. What is the time going to be? 15.6. We go 10th. We've got a fighting chance here to make Q3. Well, every other driver then on their final run here in Q2, but we are currently on the cusp. Can we make Q3 for the first time in this series? We made Q2 for the first time literally earlier on today. If we could do this now, that would be an absolute miracle run. I said I feel confident around Imola. It is one of my favourite tracks on the F1 game. Just the handling and the flow around this circuit suits my driving style, but we're going to have to go full send here on this final run if we want to make it through nice and tidy through the first couple of corners. There are still a couple of quick drivers that are behind me at the moment. Esteban Ocon is kind of the big one that I'm watching out for there, braking at the 50-metre board in through Tosa. But you know what? No one else is improving. I think that's Ocon up over the line. I think we've done it. I reckon we're into Q3 then for the first time this season. So we may as well try and save this set of tyres to give ourselves 2 runs in Q3. But we are through. You look at that. Lewis Hamilton down onto a 1:14.8 there. Maybe this weekend can let Mercedes shine, but P10. We are into Q3 for the first time ever in the My Team career mode there, and not far away from the likes of Gasly and Alonso. But to be honest, if we get any higher than 10th here, I will be ecstatic. Right, well, like I said then, first run will be done on the same set of tyres that we bailed out of our second run in Q2. Definitely feel like that was a wise choice, although I was half expecting to come back round and then see that one other car had improved. But yeah, I mean, we can really just go out here and absolutely try and hammer 2 laps, because anything better than 10th will be a miracle. Whoa, big wobble as we head out of the final Ravazza. Don't want to do a Carlos Sainz from qualifying in real life. 15.9 puts us P9. So I'm guessing it's that Red Bull then that hasn't done a lap so far. Right, final lap then here in Q3. It's going to be full send, full sweat mode for the first time on F123. We need 0.3 up to Pierre Gasly at the moment, but I'm sure we'll see AI times improve. One final run to make it count here on what so far has been a miracle weekend from Imola. There we go, out of the final corner. 0.4 up. Are we going to go any higher than 10th place on the grid? I don't think we did. It was a big improvement, but not enough. It's P9. We got Gasly right at the end. Well, there we go. Charles Leclerc takes pole position here at Imola at the front of the home crowd for Ferrari. Verstappen alongside him on the front row there, but Mercedes looking racy, locking out row 2. Lando Norris going quicker than Perez and Carlos Sainz as well, and we line up P9. Surely today, points are going to be possible here. Let's get into it though, ready for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix.
Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Norris, Perez, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Mr. Monaco, Gasly, Bottas, Ocon, Magnussen, Sonoda, Joe, Sargent, Stroll, Fittipaldi, Hulkenberg, De Vries, Oscar Piastri, De Vries. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, well here we are then, trackside ready for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix then, and oh dearie me, I had not even noticed that we could get some wet weather today. What do we do in terms of strategy? I think it really depends on when the rain arrives, but we're going to have to be really, really sensible on our tyres early on. And let's not forget, I got a bit of a track record here. In races that go from dry to wet at Imola, I think I bottled them on every single occasion on F122, so hoping that does not happen here today. Lining up P9 on the grid, Alonso clearly wants to engage L plan. Maybe he's trying to go all the way to the wet period. But this is going to be a big test. Stormy conditions to finish off the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. We're getting ready then to line up on the grid here at Imola. Really, really hoping this could be a big opportunity for us. Depending on what happens with the weather, we have got a fighting chance here today. Lining up then, trying to perfect it. 0.1, perfect lineup on the grid. Let's try and get a good clean getaway. And I think early on, again, it'll be a question of how well can we hang on. Waiting on the 5 red lights then here from Imola. A ridiculously long hole, but it is finally lights out and away we go. There is Alonso, despite being on the harder compound tyres, going to get a really good run down towards Telmont. We're immediately 3 wide there. Bottas, we've got to give him some room as Gasly want to try and give us the squeeze there. Norris trying to defend for dear life in front as we actually get a warning for a collision with Valtteri there. Contact between the Finn and the Frenchman, and we'll try and switch back Gasly off the exit of the corner. I think the key for us early on is just try and stay in the points there down the inside through the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. It'll become the outside on the exit, but you know what, we've done it, and down the inside of Bottas as well for good measure there. Wait to myself on the outside of Tosa, of course, as yellow flags out then on this lap 1. Seems like it was just Constantina and up a little bit further back. So here comes Valtteri Bottas again though down the inside. You know what, we'll read that like a book. Try and switch him off the corner. We're going to be on the outside as we head down into Aqua Minerale. No lift, and Bottas, well, that's a bit more like real-life Bottas there, lifting out of it. And we will hang on then to P9 at the start of this GP. But Alonso already just trying to pull away from me slightly. Looks like Hamilton's had a bit of a rough start there, down to P6. So he must have got jumped by Lando and Carlos Sainz then at the start of this Grand Prix. But yeah, well, hanging on, sorry, to P9 for ourselves. Don't think we can really complain about that all too much. We just try and weave our way through the Ravazzas then to finish off lap 1. We've done well, I will take it. Gasly already dropping back behind Bottas there, so that's reassuring for us. Seems like this race has already split into 2 groups then, top 10 and our bottom 12 early on. But yeah, I'm just trying to make such a conscious effort not to shred through this set of medium tyres early on today, because we've got to try and have a good open strategy later on in the afternoon. Who knows when that rain will actually appear on F123 as George Russell leads the way for Mercedes. Could Mercedes be on to become our 4th different winner of the year for George? There's a much more old school circuit when it's only got 1 DRS zone around it, but we are going to be in the DRS range still of Alonso early on today. I think he might be the key for us as well. Just trying to hang on to him for as long as possible as Max Verstappen trying to apply some pressure. I think he's moved to the inside of Russell and back into the lead then of the Grand Prix for the Dutchman. Of course, he and Charles Leclerc each have had 2 wins so far this year. Carlos Sainz taking the other one. Can Max make it 3? And it looks like Alonso has just about lost the DRS as well off of Sergio Perez in front of him, to be honest. I'm not really too worried about trying to get past Alonso. I think that Aston Martin, especially in his hands, is probably still too quick for us. But just if we can be gaining that free time off him and knowing he isn't gaining it off the cars in front, Lando Norris is causing an absolute bottleneck in this Grand Prix as George Russell gets back around the outside of Verstappen and back to the lead then of this race. But yeah, Lando Norris is absolutely trying to defend for his life early on here as we start lap 5. I think what's going on further back, though, is actually French Civil War between Gasly and Ocon. They are just losing so much time early on here. There's Perez and Hamilton side by side as well. They're all going side by side at the moment. And Alonso is now definitely back within the range. I tell you what, though, as we get to 1/4 distance then this afternoon, we are just sitting pretty here in P8 at the moment, just about staying within the DRS range of Fernando Alonso. To be honest, I'm intrigued to see what he's actually able to do in that Aston Martin, because I think he's the only car inside the top 10 on the hards. But yeah, everyone just battling so aggressively in front of him is really working out for all 3 of us at the back of this group. That is not the line, though, through the Gilles Villeneuve chicane. Oh, yellow flag. Someone's got issues a bit further back. Is that another Alpine braking? No, looks like to be an Alpha Tauri. So Yuki Tsunoda, I think, then looks to be out of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix there. And yep, Tsunoda out. And of course, remember, we go on about it being Ferrari's home race, but it is also the home weekend for Alpha Tauri. So heartbreak for them, as I think now we might just have dropped out of the DRS range of Fernando. Well, this is now quite a critical stage then of this GP. You can see we've lost the DRS to Alonso, and now that whole gaggle of cars is starting to pull away a little bit more. Definitely feel like these tyres are not quite giving up yet, but feel like now they're not providing the grip they once were. Bottas still right over the gearbox. But Ocon still 6 seconds back, so it's whether, again, we've seen just how strong the undercuts are on this game, whether we try and pit and go aggressively on a different strategy, or whether we just try and hang out there and stick to plan A. Really just depend on when that rain's meant to arrive, doesn't it? Let's see if we get some weather information.
Expect to see some rain about 10 to 15 minutes from now. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
Here goes Bottas, no real point in trying to defend that from him. But yeah, it's whether we can sort of get these tyres to lap 13, say, and then go softs and try to limit the damage and potentially undercut our way back in towards that fight up in front, or do we just focus on bringing home a point or 2 for the team? Here we go, though, trying to get the run back on Valtteri as we head back down towards turn 1, gaining, but you know what, I'm not convinced it's worth it. Bottas so much quicker than me through the rest of the lap. If we were fully ahead, then I would have said fine, but the fact we weren't going to be, we were still going to be alongside each other. But yeah, 20 laps to go here from Imola. I think, yeah, the focus has got to be just get this car in the points. Team now warning me that the range should be here in a little over 10 minutes. So this really gives us a bit of a debate now. Do we try and pit and go soft tyres until the wet period, or do we try and just hang out here for as long as possible and then pit? Because of course, if I'm going to try and pit for softs, then we've got to try and get an undercut. We've got to try and make this work for us, because I don't think Bottas is any quicker than me around this venue, and I'm still looking at the way those front-running cars are all battling each other. That cluster just in front of us. Lando Norris could be the key. I think what we're going to do, we're going to risk it. We're going to pit onto a set of soft compound tyres right now then. Here in Imola, it's going to be quite a brave strategy choice. Make sure we get the car slowed down. But this should allow us to get quite a big undercut. It really is a question of whether any of the AI are brave enough to try and get their tyres right the way through to the wet period. If they do, we're screwed. If they can't, then hopefully we're about to get quite a big undercut. That is a very, very tight pit entry done by the team. 2.5 second stop though, no hold-ups like we had last weekend out in Miami. Looks like we're going to come out around about Nick de Vries. Hopefully we can come out in some clear air. There we go, out behind Nick de Vries. So let's just get on with it now. Make sure we look after these soft compound tyres, but try to utilise that undercut, because the AI are likely still to go onto hards anyway. We go a load of AI immediately into the pit lane then, so is this strategy really going to work out for me, or were we just not brave enough with it? Nick de Vries holding me up a little bit through the final couple of corners. Don't want to sit behind the Alpha Tauri very long at all this afternoon, as we'll put alongside and we'll pull past him. So there we go, swooping through. Yep, as predicted, the AI, though, have gone onto a set of hard compound tyres, so now I'm really praying that the rain comes down within sort of the next 5 or 6 laps, but Hamilton still just out in front of me. We might still be able to jump some of the others that are yet to box. Fittipaldi is doing us an absolute treat. They're holding Hamilton up. I mean, there's doing us an absolute treat, and then there's whatever Fittipaldi's done there as we swoop past Hamilton. Hopefully our teammate's going to back out of this one, or even more contacts between the pair of us there. Though I think we got a warning for just running into the back of him slightly, but we are now past Lewis Hamilton then. Here in the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, we've got more cars boxing, so Fernando Alonso now into the lead of this GP. How long has it been since we've said that in the world of Formula 1, and how much less time will it be before we say that in real life 2023? But back into the points we'll go then of this race, and look at that, we are going to get the jump on Perez and Carlos Sainz as well. Lando Norris still 4 seconds up the road, but most of the cars that haven't pit then are on the hards. Oh, okay, so Alonso then peeling into the pit lane at just the end of lap 17 there, so clearly doesn't want to extend his hard tyre stint all too far, but surely we're going to be ahead of the Spaniards in this race as well. Stroll, once he pits, we could be like in P5 of this Grand Prix there. I'm definitely going to get a nosebleed doing this. Is purple through the final sector. Alonso though onto mediums, but now, pretty much from now, I want the rain to appear. Just about able to keep Hamilton at bay on the long run towards turn 1. You just see that proximity arrow get bigger and bigger. Oh, that's the message we want to hear from Mark. Rain is on the way. As George Russell, new fast lap of the day. Looks like he's been undercut by Max and Charlie. But yeah, I think now as Stroll peels into the pit lane then, we are going to be P5 temporarily. But to be honest, even the fact we're on 2 stages of softer compound tyres, not a lot we can do against Lewis. He's getting runs absolutely everywhere. Here comes Checo Perez as well. So if we just slot back in behind these two, Carlos Sainz might even try it down at the first corner. But yeah, let's just try and stick with them and try and get these soft tyres a bit further. There we go. I think we're going to lose the DRS to Hamilton and Checo now as Sergio Perez moves past Lewis Hamilton in this GP. Carlos Sainz and Valtteri Bottas still all over the back of myself. I don't know. Yeah, Alonso's definitely in the range as well. Literally look behind me and see Alonso battling with Valtteri. But we've just got to try and keep Sainz. Do we really? There's no real point in trying to keep Sainz back either. I think, yeah, still the focus has just got to be get this car home in the top 10. Yeah, but here comes Carlos Sainz as we start lap 21. Basically a 2/3 distance then. Team want me in again, but absolutely not yet. Where is the rain? Another 5 minutes still. This is really not working for us. Jeff, Mark even calls the dry seem like the best tyres, but we might have made a grave error. Oh, big slide out of the final corner, and you know what? Fernando Alonso is going to say thank you very much. Soft, well, medium tyres for him, of course. So not quite softer tyres, but softer than most of the cars we've been able to defend against. And now we might be able to watch the battle of the Spaniards there. But yeah, this, unless it really rains soon, is not looking like it was the strategy I should have gone with here. Again, another lap. I think it's about to be another position lost this time around. Valtteri Bottas romps past me as we head back down in towards the first corner. We've got 6.5 seconds back to Ocon. 10 laps left to try and hang on there in the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Just rain, I beg. Where is this rain? Come on. 3/4 distance now, and it's getting to the point where we might have to gamble. I mean, we can't take these tyres to the end. Right, okay, it's basically here then. Mark would be telling us when the rain was going to arrive if it was more than pretty much a lap or 2 out, I'm sure, by saying that. Oh, there we go. I saw a little bit, I swear, on the visor. Yep, the rain has arrived here in Imola, and it is meant to come down very, very quickly, so that is perfect. Still hanging on close to Bottas. Now it's just a question of when do we pit. I mean, like I said, this rain's meant to start dropping very, very abruptly. So, is it worth just boxing now, go straight into intermediates? Or do we wait for when the AI pit? You know what, Mark might be telling me dry seem like the best tyre for now, but I'm already starting to get some moisture on the screen. I'm going to pit in at the end of that very same lap then. It might be a bit early to be making the call, but it's just going to keep raining and keep getting worse and worse. It might get to full wet conditions before this race is over, for all we know, so we can only hope that this strategy works out nicely for us. We've made some big gambles today. Big gambles. Good pit stop by the team, but yeah, no one else into the pits just yet. We're going to be out very, very close to Fittipaldi and De Vries.
That was our last stop. No more scheduled pit
That rain
stops.
is getting worse and worse, so let's wait and see then. They're actually coming up side by side behind me. Fittipaldi trying to look... No! What are you doing, Enzo? Just completely missed his braking point there. And he's given me front wing damage. Enzo Fittipaldi might have absolutely ruined us here. Honestly, I'm tempted to drop Fittipaldi right now after that. I'm so livid. So livid with our teammate. I mean, I don't think we might have been slightly too early on the strategy anyway, but even with front wing damage, we're not losing that much to Nick De Vries up the road, but just locked up, missed his braking point at turn 1 there. You can see he's got no wing damage, but that has completely ruined us. We were on for points here at Imola, and it's gone. Gone in a heartbeat, unless we get something absolutely ridiculous happen.
10 minutes until this rain evens out. Stay alert out there.
I mean, we've still got the opportunity that the AI need to pit, but we're losing so much with this damage. Don't really want to pit again if I can avoid it, even if we just beat Enzo. I reckon I'm probably losing at least 2.5, 3 seconds a lap with that front wing damage here, so we would still be right with Nick De Vries at the moment. Yeah, just, we've got nothing. We've got absolutely nothing through the corners, and I don't even think that's at fault of the tyres. I think that is the lack of front wing there. So frustrated. Like I said, I reckon it might have been one lap early. Maybe. I'm amazed none of the AI have still pit. I think they're just trying to drag it out to the end, so I'm not going to give up just in case they do something stupid. Saying none of them pit between now and the end, and we do then have a bit of an advantage still, but that is so heartbreaking. Well, 2 laps to go then, and what should have been our day of days in this My Team series so far. After coming agonisingly close to points in Miami, Imola should have been the race where we got the team off the starting blocks, but yeah, we're definitely now starting to gain a lot more on Fittipaldi and Nick De Vries. To be honest, as long as I get Enzo, that's all I really care about at the moment. The first chance I get, I'm so tempted to drop him after that. So tempted, you know, steamrolled into turn 1 against his teammate, completely missed the corner, and just threw me off the road.
Okay, just 2 laps of fuel remaining.
2 laps to go. Doesn't look like the AI. I mean, quite clearly then they can, so you can stay out a lot more on F123 than you could on F122, so that's good to know anyway. But yeah, Fittipaldi, get in the bin, mate. Get in the bin. So we're about to start the final lap though here from Imola. It looks like George Russell is going to be the one that has braved the storm this weekend and will walk away victorious here for the first time in 2023 with Mercedes. Means 3 teams have won races inside our first 6 Grand Prix as well, which is pretty good going there. George Russell, he won his first ever race back at Brazil at the end of 2022. He will win the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix here from Imola in 2023. Max Verstappen looks like he will open up the gap ahead of Charlie Boy once more for P2. Charles Leclerc, very, very strong weekend, but not quite enough there, as now you can see how much time we're actually gaining over some of the AI, but still, just any touch of the brakes and immediately we lock up, and that's what's costing us so much at the moment, because of course we've just got, got so much lacquer downforce. Someone else apparently has had an incident somewhere, but yeah, 12 seconds up to the Williams, I think in half a lap is certainly not going to be possible. Lando Norris though, mega drive by him, I think has come through for P5 ahead, just behind Sergio Perez there. Hamilton in 6th ahead of Carlos Sainz. Alonso Bottas, and it should have been me. It should have been me inside that top 10 there. Maybe the strat would have been a bit too early, but I think honestly we could have recovered back to where we would have been in this Grand Prix late on in the day. I mean, look how much quicker we're going than Bottas. Like I said, we're easily losing a good 2-3 seconds a lap due to the front wing damage, but through the final corners, P19 in the end here at Imola. That is a heartbreaking end to what should have been a fantastic GP.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
They take the the checkered flag then here in Imola in what has been another outstanding Grand Prix. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it. So let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. There was also a strong showing from the McLaren team today as they make their way up the standings. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One, so be sure to join us for the next one.
Well, there we are then. The end of the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, sorry. George Russell take up bow there. Fantastic race by him and able to control it late on as well. Max Verstappen P2, like we said, Charles Leclerc, Perez, Norris, Hamilton, Sainz, Alonso, Bottas, and Ocon rounding out the top 10 there. It should have been me. It should have been me. Championship-wise, though, in terms of the battle at the front, Charles Leclerc now 18 points back behind Max Verstappen once more. George Russell now ahead of Carlos Sainz, though, and only 6 points behind Sergio Perez, so that's all heating up a little bit further. For us, though, Nico... No, we're still P16 then, so Bottas, sorry, yeah, scored his first points of the year there, which elevates Alfa Romeo ahead of ourselves once again, constructors-wise. Yep, back down into 9th place overall as well. Red Bull 30 points clear of Ferrari, but Mercedes now potentially eyeing up a bit of a challenge as well. And McLaren, very, very good haul of points for them, elevate them ahead of Alpine. So yeah, it's all going on at this early stage of the campaign. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will be back tomorrow when Formula One returns ready for the duel in the Formula One crown. We'll be back ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. You guys do not want to miss that. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.